A class 8 national level skater jumped off from third floor of his school because of the suspension given by his principal because he had got mobile phone in the school violating the school policy.
And he had recorded a social media reel. And when they saw the CCTV camera, they could see the child had apologized multiple times. In fact, he had said like 52 sorries. But the school was strict and they were very firm. They wanted to see his parents. They wanted perhaps to set an example for the miscreants and the rule breakers. But all in all, the disciplinary action turned out to be a death sentence for the child.
Although the child is stable, but he has got multiple injuries in his legs, in his spine. But the question is, why did it all happen? Why these kind of things are becoming very common nowadays?
So there are multiple ways of looking at all of it. If you go by psychology, so whenever the children are being, particularly at the age of 14, which this child was, when they're being rebuked or reprimanded, it raises the cortisol or the stress hormones in their body because they look at it as verbal humiliation. Now that's when their thinking becomes narrow and they go into a fright and flight reaction, the panic mode. They become impulsive. They can't even consider the repercussions. They can't process what is going to be the ramifications, and they simply go impulsively. In this case, because the child was not being listened to, perhaps, so he chose to just run off and jump off the balcony.
Yet it all seems like child feared disappointing his parents more than the principal. Could there have been a communication gap at home?
Absolutely. I think in today's times where the parents are busy, somewhere they fail to create that safe dialogue window with their children. I mean, the children feel that they're always being instructed or lectured because the parents don't have the time to really listen to them. Or in this case, the child, because he had these threats of suspension or confiscation of his phone and his medals of the sports, he kind of perhaps had no trust on his parents. He perhaps felt that even when the parents would come, they won't side with him, they won't defend him. So he saw and predicted punishment and not protection.
But the case has been filed against the principal for verbal abuse and mental cruelty.
And that is a serious allegation because even the case could also have been fired against the parents who did not create that safe comfort or understanding platform for their child. Also, I think media, because it becomes nowadays the tribunal, the open court, it does not really set the history and the context of the case. It's like judging the whole movie by one scene or judging the whole book by a random paragraph. The complete picture is never really shown to the public, and so in that impulse, the cases are filed. Also, the schools these days, they are clearly trapped because the society expects from them to teach discipline to the children, but the emotional tolerance of the children is dropping. Maybe the teachers are also not being trained enough to read those emotional saturation points on the child's face. I mean, reading fear, panic, and anxiety on a child's face is completely doable.
So who do you think is at fault in this kind of situation? The child, the parent, teachers, or the school?